Whale shark, the largest fish alive. 12 meters long, 20 tons, and it wants nothing to do with you. This animal opens a mouth 1.5 meters wide and still couldn't swallow a person. Its throat is roughly the size of a grapefruit. That massive mouth is built purely for volume, not bite. No functional teeth, no grip, no chase. The most enormous shark on Earth is essentially a swimming net moving at 2 kilometers per hour through open ocean. And yet it crosses entire ocean basins alone, following temperature gradients invisible to everything else. Navigating routes scientists still can't fully map. Researchers have tagged whale sharks and lost them for years. They reappear thousands of kilometers away with no explanation for where they went or why. The biggest fish alive, and one of the least understood. Bull shark. Now forget gentle giants entirely. The bull shark is the reason shark attacks happen in places that make no sense. Rivers, harbors, flooded streets after storms. This shark regulates salt in its body so precisely it lives in fresh water indefinitely. Not just survives, thrives. Found 3,700 kilometers up the Amazon. Found in Lake Nicaragua, landlocked, generations removed from the ocean. Patrolling the Brisbane River right where people jog the banks and children swim. It doesn't wait for you to come to the ocean, it follows the water to you. Aggressive, territorial, and nearly impossible to identify mid-attack, which means its numbers are almost certainly underreported. The great white still leads the official count on unprovoked attacks. But the great white lives offshore. The bull shark lives in the same water you do. Not the most documented, the most present. That distinction matters more than the statistics. Mako Shark, the fastest shark alive. Clocked at 70 kilometers per hour in short bursts. Faster than most boats at cruise speed. Faster than any other fish in open water. The Mako doesn't ambush, it chases. Open water, full sprint, nothing held back. Its body is built like a torpedo. Crescent tail, rigid spine, heat-retaining muscles that function like a warm-blooded animal's. Most sharks are cold. The Mako runs hot, which means its muscles fire faster, its reactions land quicker, and its prey has almost no window to escape once the chase begins. It hunts swordfish, animals that can stab back and frequently do. Makos have been found with broken bills lodged in their skulls. Still hunting, still eating, still winning. A shark that picks fights with creatures carrying built-in weapons and considers that a reasonable Tuesday. Thresher Shark. This one doesn't bite first, it whips. That tail, the upper lobe alone, as long as its entire body, moves so fast it causes cavitation. Water pressure dropping so violently the liquid momentarily boils, generating a pressure wave that stuns entire schools of fish simultaneously. One strike, dozens incapacitated. The thresher then circles back and eats them before they recover. No chase required, no speed competition. It weaponized physics itself instead. But here's what makes it stranger. Thresher's breach. Full body clearing the surface completely, which several open ocean sharks are capable of. But the thresher does it with a tail longer than its own torso trailing behind it, which changes the geometry of the entire movement. Still no confirmed explanation for why. A shark that boils the water around its tail and occasionally launches its entire body into the air for reasons science hasn't fully resolved. Nurse shark. It doesn't chase, it doesn't sprint, it doesn't even swim most of the time. Nurse sharks rest motionless on the ocean floor for hours, sometimes stacked on top of each other in piles, which should be impossible for a shark because most species must keep moving to push water across their gills or suffocate. The nurse shark solved that problem differently. It pumps water actively across its gills while completely still. Bottom dweller, night hunter. Uses its small mouth to create suction and vacuum prey directly out of crevices in the reef, completely unbothered by everything around it. But don't mistake that stillness for weakness. When threatened, it bites and does not let go. Documented cases of nurse sharks clamped onto a human arm, carried to shore still attached, requiring surgical removal at a hospital. Slow, peaceful, completely harmless until something changes. And then it simply refuses to release. The most relaxed shark in the ocean with the most stubborn bite on the reef. Blue shark. Long, slender, electric blue on top fading to white underneath. Built less like a predator and more like something designed purely for distance. one of the most widely distributed sharks on Earth, crossing every major ocean, every temperate and tropical zone, covering ranges that dwarf almost every other marine predator. But here's what makes it genuinely strange. It travels in groups separated entirely by sex. Males in one zone, females in another. Entire oceanic populations self-organized by gender across thousands of kilometers of open water, with no physical barrier enforcing the separation. No fence, no boundary, just a behavioral pattern that persists across the entire species, and that scientists still can't fully explain. The blue shark is also the most heavily traded shark in the fin industry globally, accounting for the largest share of the catch by volume. It's listed as near threatened right now, not critically endangered yet, but the trajectory is clear and it isn't moving in a good direction. Blacktip Reef Shark. This is the shark people actually see. Shallow reefs, warm, clear water, 2 meters long, tips of every fin marked in black like they were dipped in ink. They cruise the same reefs on predictable schedules. Morning feeding runs along the same corridors, same routes, same zones, same timing. Researchers have tracked individual blacktips returning to identical reef sections year after year with the consistency of a daily commute. Creatures of pure habit in one of the most chaotic environments on Earth. But here's what most people miss. The blacktip is documented making explosive acrobatic leaps clean out of the water, clearing the surface entirely and repeating it in the same location without any confirmed hunting purpose. A shark that follows a schedule down to the meter, patrols its reef like it owns every square meter of it, and then occasionally launches itself out of the ocean for reasons that remain genuinely unexplained. The most familiar shark alive, still doing things nobody fully understands. Basking Shark, the second largest fish alive. Up to 12 meters long, mouth nearly a meter wide, cruising just below the surface with that jaw hanging open, filtering up to 2,000 tons of water every hour for microscopic plankton. From the side, it's a dark silhouette and a gaping mouth moving slowly toward you. For centuries, coastal communities across Europe and North America reported sea monsters rising from the deep. They were looking at basking sharks feeding at the surface. But here's what nobody was seeing. In winter, basking sharks disappear completely. For decades, no tags could track them. Scientists assumed they sank to the sea floor and went dormant. Then, deep water tracking revealed something else entirely. They dive to 900 meters and migrate from the cold North Atlantic all the way to the Caribbean and South America, following deep cold water corridors across entire ocean basins. A hidden migration happening completely out of sight that nobody detected for centuries. A creature so large, coastal villages built myths around it, quietly crossing half the planet while everyone assumed it was simply gone. Now let's get to the question. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Pay attention because this one isn't for everyone. Which shark on this list physically cannot swallow a human, despite having a mouth 1.5 meters wide? Drop your answer in the comments. The first people to get it right will be featured in the next video. And that's it for today, but I'll be back. Leave suggestions for animals and videos in the comments. Your idea could be the next video. Don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.